I'm making this video about a fault I did last week, and I thought I came up with an interesting fix. So I was fixing a spray booth. They have a VSD, a variable speed drive, that controls various of their motors. They're basically at the end of their usable lifespan, but we needed to get it up and running again. A single cooling fan was stopping it from running. It turns out the way this VSD operates, it's a 3-wire fan. The two wires obviously drive the fan. The third wire, you can use it for detecting the speed of the fan. The way this VSD was using it was to tell if the fan was going or not. So instead of a temperature sensor, it was getting feedback to determine that the fan was actually running. This fan was inside of the housing, so it just moved air around. It used a heat sink to cool, so there was no dust that got inside on the electronics, but the air was circulating around inside to make sure, I guess, that the heat made its way into the heat sink. There was another fan outside on the heat sink that the warning for it could be deactivated, but for this one it couldn't. So this whole big spray booth could not operate at all because this tiny little computer fan wouldn't run. Smaller than a computer fan, a little electronic cooling fan. So I went down to the supplier, picked up a fan that was a similar size, but it was 2-wire. It was all I could get that was in that size. Also, conveniently, another electrician had already had a go at fixing this, and they had the old fan with them. So there's a special connector for it to plug in, which I couldn't get. I couldn't buy a fan that had that on it. Went to Jaycar. I'd already been to Jaycar trying to find a fan. And I just found something that had a similar looking connector. I ended up buying a little Arduino. Bought that and then cut it so I could get the little like wire harness thing off it that had the connector, and that worked. I slid it in. It didn't have the clip, so obviously it could just pull out a lot easier than the original, but it's gonna work. So I hooked that all up and it wasn't working. It called tech support, got tech support in Australia for that brand of VSD on the phone, and they walked me through. Spent like 40 minutes on the phone with the guy. He walked me through various things to try, and we determined that there was no way to bypass that signal. He was checking if he had one in stock, but they were in Australia, which wasn't going to work because this company was not going to be able to wait, a week or however quickly we could ship it there to get their thing up and running. So I went back to the supplier. I was really lucky. It was just a few minutes down the road for this particular supplier. I just told him, give me the smallest fan you've got that's a 3-wire. On these fans, this type of fan, the yellow wire apparently is always the feedback, so it can get feedback on the speed, and that can be used to control the speed of the fan. Something like that anyway. I don't know that much about it. So I took, the fan was like more than double the size of the old one. I took the fan back, wired it in, and the machine ran. Before I did that, I'd already proved that the fan was a problem way earlier on in the diagnostics. Because there was 4 of these VSDs on the site, I just stole a fan from the other spray booth, hooked it up into this one, and everything ran as it should. Oh, one more thing. The fault was, to me, presenting in a really weird way because the VSD booted up, it showed the fault about the fan, but on the actual device not running, it's got the little graphical interface touchscreen for the PLC with the custom software from the manufacturer. And normally the screen appears, you tap on it and the control menu appears. When the fault was happening, the normal screensaver was there, normal home screen. When you tap on it, you don't get the control menu, nothing happens. You can get the troubleshooting menu, but you can't get the actual controls up. And there were no faults. So I reckon it's just it's like an edge case that the coders didn't allow for, but it is strange. You think they would have done it in a way where it presented fault code. Someone knows more about this kind of thing. I'd love to know your thoughts on that particular fault. I thought it was a weird way for the fault to present, but anyway. All right, so that's my little video explaining this fault. You might be watching this because the tech support guy for this company sent it to you. He was very interested to hear how I solved this fault because he said a lot of electricians he's worked with wouldn't have come up with an out-of-the-box solution like this. They just wait to get the proper parts. So Yeah, hopefully you found this useful or interesting. If you like this sort of stuff, subscribe. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Give us a like to help us in the algorithm. And I will see you in the next one.